Hey Dito, do you know what time it is?
Yes, KT, it's time to assemble!
Alright, in this episode, we talk about breaking boards, the secret to better gun accuracy, and we learn how to make explosive stakes. All of that and more coming up. It's time for the Kita Anime Podcast with Dito and Ktdata. The Kita Anime Podcast is brought to you by The Avengers. Dito, assemble! Hey everybody, welcome to the Kita Anime Podcast. I am Ktdata.
And I be Dito.
And here's the podcast where we watch some animes, we talk about stuff, it's usually about the animes, and we go with it. So Dito, how are you doing today, man?
KT, I must ask you, what in the hell are you wearing?
Well, come on. So if you guys didn't know, last Friday, The Avengers came out in the U.S., and Dito and I, we went to a 12:30 showing. It was awesome, but the cool thing is for all the 3D ones, you can buy custom-made 3D glasses. Well, they're not custom-made, but they're molded for the movies, and these are the Captain America ones. So I thought it'd be stylish, to go with your Persona 4 glasses. I can wear my Captain America ones. I just feel like going around, USA! USA! And holding
The
out
difference
a
is that
shield.
mine are prescription.
These are polarized.
I guess it's close enough.
All right, fine. Fine. I will just go back to Commando or whatever. We'll get to that later. If you guys have never seen this podcast before, it's crazy. We've had 3 seasons of this. So what happens is, like I said earlier, we pick 3 animes. This time around, it just happens to be Kuroko's Basketball, Jormungand, and Korewa Zombie Desu-ka. Yeah. So I was
Dead.
Of the Dead. So I think that translates to "Am I a zombie?" or something like that.
Are you a zombie?
Yeah. Are you a zombie?
Or are you really a zombie?
Of the Dead.
Of the dead.
I think I can translate the "of the Dead" part. But so
I don't know.
So this is episode 2. So we'll be doing episodes 3 and 4 of all these animes. Warning: if you have not seen these animes, there will be spoilers. But wait, don't run away right now. I'll give you a hint. If you guys go to our show notes at ktdata.net, they will have links to watch all these episodes, so you won't be in the dark. Go watch them first, then come back. You can hear my sultry voice as I fail an announcer's test or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But better than me, because I would have bombed that completely.
If you guys have no idea what you're talking about, you should be watching live. Anyways, let's just start out with our first anime right now. And our first anime is Kuroko's Basketball or Kuroko no Basuke. And it's brought to you by Hoops. Let's break them, but you gotta pay for them.
Alrighty, so last episode, I learned that some terms of basketball.
Passo.
Pass it. The coach likes to look at guys' chests, and Kagami loves his hamburgers.
So, when we first left off, we met Kisei, who is actually from the Kaijo Private High School, and they're gonna have a practice match. It's not an official match, no rankings, no nothing, but it's good for both teams. You learn from each other. You see how it would be in almost a real game and stuff. And what happens is when they get to that school right there, it's huge, and you can tell it's a sports-oriented school because it's ginormous. You can tell there's money in the gyms and everything. And so what happens is Kagami, he's just pumped. He is super pumped for this because it shows him he looks dead tired. Kuroko's like, what happened to you? And all he says is, I didn't get any sleep last night because I was so excited for this practice match. This is a practice match. It's not even like for keeps or anything. It's supposed to be, helping both teams, but they're super pumped for that. And so what happens is Kisei comes up. He's like, "Hey guys, welcome to my high school. It's kind of big, so I decided to come grab you so you guys wouldn't get lost and everything." And he sees Kagami and is like, "I'm gonna crush you today." So if that's not just already rubbing things into the wounds, because remember, Kisei's part of the generation of miracles, so he's pretty much almost a Michael Jordan in the high school world, like Dito is on the basketball court.
Come again?
Yeah. Maybe I've been dreaming. So what happens is he takes him to the gym, and so if you guys have ever been into a gym, usually there's a full court basketball, and then they have these side basketball courts that take up each half court, and they usually have a net that comes down, so that way you can have practice on these basketball boards. And usually the basketball hoops aren't as nice as the full court one, so they're like. And they're like, "What? Why are we playing a half-court game?" And the coaches, I wanted to punch the coach. He's like, "I didn't think the rest of the team would get anything out of this from watching you guys play, so I decided to hold practice as usual on the other side while you guys play. But don't worry, you're still playing our starters right there." And that just ticked everybody off on the team. Everybody, even Rico, the coach, because he's like, "I thought you were the manager," and they're like, the equivalent of this is imagine you going somewhere, you have a degree in some kind of specialty, and they call you in as a specialist, and then they give you kitty gloves on it. That's kind of like what's happening. And it gets everybody just angry. And then Kisei, he's dressed, and the coach is like, "Why are you dressed? You're not playing," which even ticks everybody off. It's like, and the thing that the coach tells him is "You were on a different level, even from our starters, and you guys, you're light years away from this team over here." And that just got the fire just. And the surprising part is, guess who got angry during this, Dito?
Believe it or not, our well-mannered, very light-spoken Kuriko, it got to him even.
I know, and usually in all these situations, he kind of has that cold face where he doesn't react to anything, and this time he's like, "Oh, we're gonna get you." And the Kisei comes on. "Oh, if you guys give them a run for money, the coach will have to put me in." And Kuriko's like, "You better warm up. It's not gonna take long for you to get on the court." I was like, "Oh snap! This is the crazy thing about this anime. They haven't played a full for keeps match yet, and I am just loving these rivalries you're already seeing in between all the players, and it's so excited, so excited. So keep in mind we're 2 minutes in already, and we haven't even started playing basketball yet for this episode. So finally the match actually starts, and so what's crazy is so the tip off. Of course, Kaijo gets it, the visiting team that Kisei's on. And what happens in 2 seconds is Kuriko steals the ball, and he starts driving, and the team catches up. But then he passes it to Kagami, and he just totally dunks it on them and breaks the rim off the backboard. He totally tears it off. This is the first play of the game. 30 seconds in, he's already torn off the hoop on the basket, which is nuts.
I found this to be funny because he didn't even realize it. Kagami didn't even realize he tore it off until he just kind of looks at his hands like, "Oh!"
Yeah, he was so pumped and excited for this that he didn't notice at all, which is crazy. And then so Kuriko's like, "Sorry we broke your hoop. Can we use the full court now?" That changes the dynamic, because keep in mind the team, Kaijo's team, was practicing on the other side, so now they have to actually sit and watch this match. So the intensity has gone up, and so the first 3 minutes of the game, these guys are just going at each other full speed. It's a fully offensive game, so it's high scoring, running and gunning, and like the defenses they can't even keep up because these guys are going like everything is a dunk or not. It's not no easy shots. They're pushing hard for it, and we're only 3 minutes in. What I thought was crazy is that usually in high school you do halves instead of quarters, but they're actually following the NBA model where they're doing like 12-minute quarters each. So that means you're playing for 40 minutes instead of like 30 minutes. And 10 minutes may not seem like a lot, but when you're out there running at full speed, that's a lot. And like the funny thing is Kagami, he actually this is so we start seeing Kisei's secret red. Kagami goes up for a fadeaway. He's going at full speed and he's doing a fadeaway. So essentially he's running forward and what he's going to do is actually jump backwards away from the basket and then shoot the ball. Extremely difficult to do because you're changing momentums that quickly. And what happens is Kisei blocks Kagami's fadeaway shot, and then what takes it to the other side of the court and copies the move perfectly, and then scores on Kagami. We're only 5 minutes in. These guys are playing as hard as they can. Kuroko, he asks for a timeout because he's trying to calm down his team. And he's like, I'm going to be less effective if we keep playing at the speed. And they're like, what? Explain what Kuroko is trying to say, but when he says less effective down there.
By this means that Kuroko does have a weakness. As he goes on, if he pushes himself too hard and everything, his ability to be invisible and everything starts becoming very less effective as we've spoken, and his total time limit is about 40 minutes,
which is the length of a normal game.
Yeah, it's the size of a normal game. But since he's been playing on the traditional, it seems like traditional, just two halves, it goes down to that they have to start slowing down toward his pace. But at the same time, too, the coach Rico was telling him not to, we can't slow down, but at the same time too, just try to go at your own pace. So that's what he tries to do.
Yeah, and then this is where it like gets a little crazy because in defense there's different styles of defenses. There's man to man, which is you have one guy, your job is to stop him on defense at all costs. And then there's a zone defense where you have to cover these areas. So what happens is they actually switch from a man to man to a zone defense. And in zone defenses, there's actually more than one way to do it. This one is called a box one, and what happens is 4 of the players form a box around the key, so where the free throw line is on the basketball, and then the one is kind of a roamer. So they have Kagami being the roamer, trying to stop Kisei, while everybody else is in this zone defense right there. So if the ball comes near you, you're in charge of that area, you go and guard that person right there. So it helps so you don't have to be running around left and right trying to catch up. Especially it's effective if the other team is quicker than you are. And what's crazy is that I was watching this and it's so different from what I'm traditionally able to see in international play. This is a lot more like in the NBA where it's usually one player that's focused and we're trying to stop, and they're going at an NBA speed too. They're not shooting from the outside. That's a difference between NBA play and international play is that usually you see a lot more play outside the key, which is the inside area of the basketball court, just because theirs is a different shape and it's harder to get in there because of the rules and everything. So it's really weird to watch this, and everybody's like going for layups and they're going for dunks, really close shots instead of doing jump shots, which is normally what you would see in an international play. Which I think gives this anime a little bit of an edge. It's a little bit more modern, and it's the style of basketball that even both Western and Eastern audiences are used to. When you go watch basketball, you think the NBA, you think LeBron James, you think Kobe Bryant, and they all play like this. Not usually the traditional kind of style play you get in European and Asian leagues. So it's crazy. What happens is Kisei totally scores on Kagami one time, and he's like, "Oh, you should just give up now. I am years ahead of you, and there is no way you can catch up with me." No way at all. You are years behind me. And then guess what Kagami does, Dito?
He just outright just says he just starts laughing. Actually, he just starts cackling out, and Kisei is just like going, "What is wrong with you?" And he's just like, "Maybe it's just better if I can't win, because since he was played in the States and everything, and he knows how basketball's really played, he's always used to people being better than him. That it only strives him to be stronger, better, faster. Just to like pump himself up to be the better person."
Yeah, and this is part of why I love this anime so much. It's because this is part of the reason why I play basketball. I'm not the greatest player in the world, but
No.
that's what drives me to play even harder is to go up against these good players and try to beat them. Um, so like I can totally relate to Kagami and like how he feels. He's had it a little bit easy since he's taller and faster than most people, and now he's finally playing against a team that's given him a challenge, and it's just driving him to do even better than how he is right now. Um, so and then the one thing is like, and he's like, besides Kisei, I know your weakness, and he just like rubs Kuroko on his head and is like, this guy is your weakness right here. And we're like, what? And they're like, the person with almost zero presence on the court. How in the world is he the weakness? So they end the first quarter, which is 12 minutes, and they have a 2-minute timeout to work their strategy and everything. So what happens is they kind of gather up, and so Kuroko's like, "Oh yeah, we can beat him. There's a weakness that we can do," and he's like crazy calm too. They're down by probably like 7 points or so, which doesn't seem like a lot. That's at least three different possessions for their team to score because it's 2 points a basket or a 3-pointer. So they're decently far behind right now. So Kuroko's like, all right, we're gonna change our strategy. This is gonna work a little bit better. And then what happens is because they're starting to get used to Kuroko just being the main passer on there. And then what they start doing is instead of just just one pass and you're done and somebody scores, what they're doing is they're actually getting Kagami and everybody else to start passing, which means you're gonna have more options around there. So the team's having a hard time to keep it up. Kaijo's having a hard time keeping up, just because now you don't know if it's going to go straight to Kagami or if Kagami's going to pass to Kuroko and he's going to pass somebody else to score. So it opens up a wide range of options because before it just used to be Kuroko to Kagami. You just got to guard one of those two and you should be okay. Now it's the whole entire team right there. And this is my favorite part because in the first two episodes we haven't really seen the strength of the second years, and they've mentioned the second years almost won the championship last year, so they have some talent. So this is their time to actually introduce some of them. So Kuroko actually, instead of passing to Kagami, passes to the captain, and he just totally drains a 3-pointer without breaking a sweat at all. And the funny thing is, right when he sinks the 3-pointer, what do you think the bench yells at, Dito?
I can't remember.
They actually yell Kita, and I'm like, yes,
Oh yes, they
yes.
do. They're giving us some promo. I totally missed
I love that. I watched that twice just to make sure I heard it.
that.
Just to make sure I heard it. But see, thank you animators in Japan for mentioning us once in a while. I love it. I love this anime, and you just made me fall so much more just because you said Kita in there. I'm sticking with that. They're promoting us. But so after that happens, they're on a fast break, and something tragic happens. What happens?
Kisei kind of like loses his cool and everything. Does like a fast break the other direction, and socks Kuriko. And at this point itself, he just like he gets knocked to the ground and everything. His blood coming off from his head. Then he's just like, "Oh, I'm okay," and everything. And he just seemed like hobble, just fall on the floor. They're like, "You're out."
Yeah, that's nuts. And it may not sound like it might hurt, but I've been hit like this before. Believe me, it hurts. Cause
Yeah, being clocked in the head when it looks like that is not a big deal
yeah,
itself. But if you're just not paying attention, you go down hard.
yeah,
It's not a pretty sight. Trust me. It's like
it's.
I've yes, I've had the same experience.
If you guys haven't had this experience and want to feel it, feel free to email us at ktdata.net and we can work something out.
Yes, yes, I'm pretty sure we can.
Um, so the funny thing is, when Kuroko passes out, they just kind of leave him behind the bench. Like nobody's
Put a
watching
towel
it.
over his face.
Yeah, they just put a mat on there and just left him there, and everybody else they're all talking strategy. I thought that was actually pretty funny because you just in the background you just see him there, and I'm like, why is nobody like paying attention to him? But everybody's so focused on there, and
It probably does. It probably doesn't help that he has no presence.
yeah, I I was just laughing pretty hard on there. The guy's bleeding from the head. It's not like just a normal flesh wound or anything, too. So they're talking about a new strategy, and the coach is like, "All right, Kagami, you stop trying to score. I want you to be on defense only." And it's like, "Why?" And she's like, "It's because everything you do, Kisei is just gonna copy and and do it better than you can. We can't let you give out all your cards right there. So your job is to stop him at all costs." And he's like you guys are gonna be scoring, and the Kagami's like, are you sure this is a good idea? And the captain is just like, you better respect your seniors or I'm gonna kill you. And he says it in this like calm, cool manner. And I'm like, oh wow, maybe that's why he's the captain of the team right there. And this is actually where they actually start showing those second year players who are actually, pretty good. And the captain, he's just like jump shot after jump shot after jump shot just sinks him in. So he's actually pretty pro at it. And so they play two whole seasons or two whole quarters without Kuroko, and they're only behind. They're staying in there. They're only behind by like two. I think it's about 2 points or so, and there's
It's
about
anywhere between like 2 to 5, I think, if I
yeah
remember.
two or 5 points, and there's about 2 minutes left. So it's coming down to crunch time right there, and you can tell that the crap. What's the name of Kuroko's team? Everybody's wearing out because
Shinhai, I think.
because
Or,
I,
oh yeah,
I wrote
I
it
should
down.
write that down.
I wrote
But
it
this
down.
is actually a good point to point this out too. Is we see the first half of it being a very high tension scoring and just like aggressive basketball play. But then when the second years get in there, you're seeing more traditional basketball play where they're setting up picks and they're setting up as like they're just doing all your standard like basketball setups. So they're changing up the strategy quite a bit, and it was throwing the other team off balance from what I was noticing.
Yeah, but like it's still tiring them out because they wasted a lot of their energy in the first 5 minutes of the game when they're going all at it. If you
Oh
guys
yeah,
don't think that's tiring, try running back and forth the length of a basketball court for 5 minutes, and you will understand how tiring it can be. So they're like, if Kuroko was in there, we probably could tie it or something. And then Kuroko just gets up. He's like has a bandage on his head. His eye is like swollen shut like this, and like, all right, put me in, coach, put me in. Um, and she's like, are you sure
other
you're
eye.
other eye, this eye?
Yeah.
Okay, put me in, coach, put me in. Apparently, I'm not going to be picked for the live action version of this anime if I can't
Nope.
even get the eye right. Uh, and it's like, and he's like, I have a plan, and so, but she's like, but you're injured and bleeding. It's like, I'll be okay. So they put it in, and then the captain's like, all right, guys, you better expect the rest of this game to be as fast paced as the first 5 minutes. So everybody's gonna go all at it, and what happens is they manage to tie it up, and there's about 30 seconds left on the clock. So Kuroko's like, I have a plan, but it's only gonna work once. So what happens is and the thing is, Kaijo, the other team has the ball. So what they have to do is they have to actually get the ball back first before they can even score. So what happens is that Kuroko manages to steal the ball and then gets it to the captain, and they just, actually, is it the other way around? The captain
Yeah,
steals the ball.
it goes from uh, I believe it was Kagami that had it, drives it in, gives it to Kuriko. Kuriko gives it to the captain. Then no, it goes from the captain to Kuriko,
Yeah,
and Kuriko like shoots.
yeah, it looks like Kuriko's gonna shoot, and you can tell it's already off, like way off, right when it leaves his hands, because they show it and it's far right on there. And they're like, oh, he's gonna miss, and everybody's like, oh, Kuriko hasn't even shot the ball at all, and like, here comes Kagami, high flying up for the alley oop and just to tip it in. And the thing is, Kisei, he's trying to block him. He's like, I'm not gonna let you score on me. So it shows this moment where both of them are kind of jumping up for the ball right there. And Kagami, he just keeps going up, and Kisei's already starting to fall back down because gravity still works in animes. And he like totally tips it in, and
For Kagami.
He's like, you don't need to return this favor. And at the last second, they score, and the team wins 100-98. And they pick right then to cut off the anime, and I'm like, no!
As soon as I saw this and it just straight into the credits, I was just like, and KT's about to cry right
No!
here.
I want to see more. I'm so in love with this anime. Just because I'm a basketball fan, and the theme song's starting again for some odd reason.
Way to go. You just can't get enough of that theme song.
It's a good theme song. I like Grand Rodeo. But how do you feel about this anime right now, Dito?
It's one of those it's really hard just to watch. I mean, for us, we have to go and like pick out all this stuff and like try to like, well, for my case itself, I just kind of go as the story goes. But KT, he's the basketball expert, so he's actually giving you play-by-play insight. So for us, it's really hard to actually watch the show and enjoy it any more than
I enjoy
like
it
as
so
anyone who
much.
just sits there and just watches the show from start to finish. We were sitting there like, these are 20-minute episodes. We probably spend a good 40 minutes on every episode.
Oh, I love it. Anyways, speaking about other animes and spending 40 minutes to watch, let's go into our next one.
We have always said the borderline. I'm entering you from here. Money more, what to say?
And our next anime is Jormungand, and it's brought to you by...
Commando is what makes you more accurate.
Oh yeah. So last episode, we learned about arms dealers. And snipers, they are a pain. And her name is Coco. She is loco. I say, oh no!
Yeah, so for anyone who's ever like watched through the actual credits of it, there is this little 10-second clip in the end about the next episode, and it is this song. This just
catchy little song.
It's a very catchy song. Excuse me. And it just goes, her name is Coco, she is loco, and I say, oh no. And that's pretty much what it is into a very catchy beat. Anyways, last episode, we already discussed that actually, because now I'm on the ball and KT's already said it. Hoo-ah!
Whoa!
So we open up we just open up with some gunfire being shot out there. You're seeing kind of like what I'd say most likely just a desertish area, probably, like Afghanistan looking area where it's just
somewhere super
not
secluded.
Many. Huh?
Somewhere like super secluded,
Yeah, very super secluded. But then out of nowhere, you come across two characters. One is Chinitsu, and then I never got this guy's name. It's a shark-mouthed guy.
I think they just call him Master.
Yeah, he's just called Master. I don't even know if he has a real name. If anyone actually does know his name, you can email us at
ktdata.net.
At ktdata.net. Thank you. And they're from a group called Orchestra. the whole point, like they're just like a terrorist group and everything that was originally contrived. Yeah, no, not that orchestra.
Oh, dang it!
Wrong.
I always wanted to be in an orchestra.
Well, if you want to, you can start up one with these guys, and I just need to be able to be an assassin and a terrorist and shooting people. But anyways, there's one thing that apparently one of these characters in an orchestra called Chietsu. I want to say China Su for some stupid reason because that's still because
I
you and those
thought
glasses. Every time it's like I just look over to where I see you on the cam or on the screen, and you just have those on. It just threw me off. Thank you. Please, sir, can I have some more?
no.
Anyways, they have a mafia guy tied up and everything just on the floor, and they're trying to ask him for questions, but instead they didn't get anything. So the master, we're just gonna call him that for now, grabs some rope, ties his head down to one of the beams and everything. Chatsu is asks if there's any questions left, where he only asks one thing: why isn't she wearing any panties? And it's just you're just like, wait, what?
Pervert!
Yeah, it's just like,
It's like,
all right.
doesn't this belong in Koriwa? Zombie
Yeah,
no
yeah, it really
Desu-ka?
should. This really should belong in Koriwa here, but we got a whole different topic we have a whole different anime on this one. Anyways, she rigs up this music box that is hooked up to an M92 pistol, and when you turn it, it's designed just to fire at rhythm with the pace. So as Chietsu just kind of turns it, and they just walk away, and all you hear is just firing and him screaming just within 2 to 3 second intervals. And I just kind of go, you know what? That's got to be a really crappy way to die.
Yeah.
It keeps on going until it goes click.
Yeah. Oh man. And then it cuts off to the strangest thing that I thought they stuck in the anime, and it's what's the guy's name? Tojo and Coco teaching Jonah how math. They're
And this is actually I found a really funny part too for anyone who hasn't seen this yet. Just so you know, Johan is just a child soldier. He knows all he knows is on the battlefield. So he's not really intelligent. So because of this and one little incident that was at the ending of the last episode between this one at the airport, he sees a plane going by. He's just like, that's a lot of wheels. Where Volmet was just kind of like, yeah, there's 14 to be accurate. How many wheels are on 3 planes? They go into this 20-second silence where there's what's taking so long? It's just a lot where they all just fall. Your stereotypical anime just.
This is how Dito tells me answers the math problems I ask him.
Yeah. So the problem is 35 times 11 equals, and he just looks and just 300.
He's like,
more or less.
Yeah, more or less. And they're like, "There's no more or less in arithmetic."
It's just so entertaining to see these hardcore professional killers teaching a young boy math and everything, and they're just so of all the crazy screw loose people in my team itself, they're quite brilliant. At least what Coco says.
Yeah. Or are you talking about them? Dito, do you want to be an assassin?
I don't think I have what it takes to be an assassin.
Are you sure?
Maybe a ninja. Wait.
A vampire ninja? Oh wait, wrong anime.
Wrong anime.
So everybody's starting to get cabin fever now because they've been stuck inside this hotel room for a while. So Valment, she goes, "Hey Coco, let's go to the mall. You can go out on a date with me." And then she gets all excited, and it's like, "Oh, but Johan needs to burn his
She says she
fat.
wants to take Johan out too.
Yeah.
She just gets all sorts of depressed and everything.
Yeah,
But
and then Valman's like, "Ugh." um, but then so Coco she leaves and she's like, all right, Tojo, sorry, you're gonna have to finish this lesson off. And then all of a sudden, Jonas he just like leaves and it's like, where are you going? Restroom. And this I love this because it shows Tojo. He's just reading the math book right now, and it just does the time lapse thing where like he's just moving and everything. And he goes and it's like 20 minutes already. He goes to the restroom and like so
there's
Coco
one thing that Coco
yeah.
did mention before she left too. It's like, be sure to thank your teacher after the lesson's done.
Yeah. And so when he opens up the bathroom on the door, it's like, thanks for the lesson. And it's like, ah, this kid's good at ditching. um,
So at this point, we see Johan just like booking it across town and trying to find Coco, which is probably a good thing too, because at this point we see Orchestra like kind of strolling down the street, start speaking to each other in Italian about what it is to be an assassin, what they should be looking for.
Principessa, come get my gelato, yeah?
Maybe that's not quite the Italian they're speaking on the same genre scale, but yes, they were speaking Italian. And at this point, there was just mentioning about like, why are you wearing that ridiculous hat? And all that Shizu could say was because you gave it to me. So yeah,
Somebody has a crush on her master.
Yeah, that's the reason why she calls her master. But as this is going along, Jitsu kind of looks over and spots Johan on the side of the street. He's just staring off and everything, and she turns back. She looks just like very, just calls him. It's just like, it's so cute, because like, master, look at this silver haired kid, isn't he cute? And looks back and he's gone. And she doesn't even pay a second thought to that. And you see Johan kind of like went into the corner because he notices it was Orchestra, because during their lessons, Coco, if you notice, was showing him a list of all the hitmen that's after him, and noticed one of them, the master, so to speak, is actually on that list. So,
ooh, foreshadowing of what's to come.
We come to see Valmont and Coco in front of a shop called Duty Free Shop, where they do not sell, or everything is not taxed, or there's no sales tax. So.
You usually find these in airports, so I think it's weird that you see this in a corner shop somewhere.
So this is where I'm kind of wondering too. Valmont mentions that at Coco's age, girls should usually be like into fashion and everything, and maybe this watch is just to like reflect on her nerdyish side. So I'm going, how old exactly is Coco? Because it doesn't. They say she's a young arms dealer, but they never really specify her age range. So I'm assuming teenage.
I say 16. Everybody's 16 in animes, right?
Or 17, 16 or 17. There's a reason why they say that I'm forever 17.
What? I thought it was forever 21.
No, that's here. There, apparently it's forever 17. I don't know. That's, yeah.
I don't know.
Other animes will tell you that too.
That
Anyways.
store's scary, so I don't walk in there.
That's floors and floors of scary. But anyways, Valmont goes in just like, or Coco's just like, I'm going to buy this. And then Valmont goes in just like, no, I'll just buy it for you as a gift for coming along with me on this date. And she just kind of goes around the corner and she's just like yes, because you could totally tell Valmont has a thing for Coco. Oh, it's not really? Very hard to tell.
They didn't just have a red-faced moment when she's like, I'm going to buy it for you. And Coco's like,
it wasn't up until the fact alone, like when the previous episode of Kita, where you noticed Coco goes in the chest of Valmont and she's just kind of like going, oh, nosebleed. We didn't see that at all.
No, not at all. No foreshadowing at all. This is all mysterious.
No foreshadowing at all. But as she's just kind of like, Coco's just kind of reflecting in the moment and everything, her arms grab from the inside of the wrist, which if anyone who knows how to do this, if you grab from the inside of wrist and pull back, you have the ability to subdue someone from actually trying to pull themselves away or try to pull themselves back from you, unless you know how to get around that. And it still happens to be Chitsu, which was asking her, what does it mean to sell weapons that eventually is going to get you killed? And at this point, she managed to get out of this grip hold, and that's when Valmont notices what's going on and sees the master across the way and is about to shoot. And guess who comes to the rescue?
Super Jonas! Yeah! Because he leaps
From the sky.
And then it's funny because they're in this like little shopping square right there, and Orchestra, they just totally open fire on everybody. There's other people there, and you just see them trying to run and get out of the way, and they're just opening fire full on, no worries on who they hit or whatever. They just want to get rid of Coco. And
she is loco.
I said, oh no. So it cuts to where Coco's on the ground and Yona's just like in front of him, and she just gives him a kiss right there, and he's like, what was that for? And it's like, just for perfect timing right there. And then she starts smiling, and he's like, she always smiles when she's in danger. And it cuts back to all the different scenes where she's actually smiling. And then this is nuts, Tito. This is seriously nuts what Chiatsu does. Oh man, I can't even, that's crazy that she calls it her cannon special, and she pulls out 40 millimeter grenades, like a grenade launcher, and it's just this little thing, and there's like a police car coming. She shoots it, and the police car just head stands straight up after it blows up, and
this is the worst part too. So you're in a gunfight between assassins and arms dealers, and like one person and two people shooting back at you, and the only thing they can do, and the only thing that the orchestra can do is just like, master, look, it's standing up, and he's just like, awesome, and that's just and they're admiring a car being standing straight up from a 40 millimeter grenade.
And then this is what doesn't make sense after either, because they go back, each side picks up a riot shield from the cops that they killed, and the weird thing is it cuts to where Jonah's returning fire, and for some reason, I don't know even where, an MP5 just pops up that he's using. And I'm like, where in the world are you keeping an MP5?
It was in his backpack. He pulls it from his backpack.
Do you keep an MP5 in your backpack?
If I had one.
That just doesn't seem practical to carry around an MP5.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, if you were a soldier kid, wouldn't you keep an MP5? I mean, he always keeps a pistol on him.
Tito, just be glad I even know what an MP5 is. All right.
Something I would like to have, a submachine gun. Yes, I would like to have an MP5, but I don't have licenses, so I can't have one. Anyways, here's about where a funny thing comes in that I've been noticing. Johan was returning fire between the two, and that every shot is coming within, half inch to an inch from their actual point of body. And everyone who knows like traditional gunfights in Hollywood, that you can shoot off hundreds of rounds at everybody from within, say, 50 feet to 100 feet of each other with any kind of weapon, and you will never hit them. You get close and everything, but the only time that you can hit somebody is about the same time as when your dialogue is done. So whatever lines they had to say, then it automatically, everyone becomes more accurate. And that's what you see, because as Valmont was trying to get back to him, she nails the boss like right in the shoulder, where at this point she just pissed him off and pulls out an AK-47 from where God knows, and just starts firing. And here's where another fun thing I found funny too, is that in Hollywood you do have the bottomless clip, so that means you can fire as many rounds as you want and never change the magazine.
You mean
this
like in The Walking
is
Dead?
pretty much where this AK sits right now, because I don't even know how long they're firing, but an AK only holds about 35 rounds.
Just
In that banana clip, and that's a lot of a lot of bullets. But considering the fact alone how long they've been firing,
yeah,
yeah,
he's peppering the wall with bullets. It's kind of like Herschel's magical shotgun in the last episode of The Walking Dead.
yeah, it's exactly. He has what he was firing for a good 5 minutes, and that shotgun should only be able to hold 6-7 rounds tops.
Yeah, and then he loaded one shell in, and all of a sudden it was a magical shotgun again after that.
Yes.
If you guys haven't seen The Walking Dead, you guys should. It's awesome. Not an anime, but hey, we watch other things in anime too, you know. I like the sports, as you guys can see. I don't know what Dito watches. I think it's porn, but we won't talk about that.
Too.
And then at this moment, so what happens is Valment gets hit in the foot, so she's like limping now.
Leg,
Leg.
thigh, be exact.
Yeah, lower extremity. There.
There we go.
There.
Use medical terms.
And like they're kind of pinned down. So Johan, he goes into this crazy like rage mode where he jumps over the little wall thing that they're hiding behind and charges straight on at these guys. And like right before the master can shoot him with the AK-47, this hook comes out of nowhere and just drags him back behind a wall. And it just happens to be Layhem. Or not
At the same time, too, Lamb. But at the same time, too, Chiatsu pulls the AK away while he's firing because she wants to save the cute kid.
It's like, that would be a waste to kill such a cute kid. I'm like, these guys are professional assassins, and this is what they're thinking of.
Well, at least one of them is. But as a lamb pulls him away and everything, he's just kind of like kicks him in the face, like, why'd you do that? He kind of explains the reasons behind, like, you shouldn't be going, you could have got him and everything, but you got yourself killed. We don't play that way, because if you get yourself killed, that means we have to go and get another person, waste more time training him. You see where we're coming from.
Yeah. And he's like, you got to use your head. If you're with us, it's no more of that child soldier mercenary kind of crap. You got to use your head to survive. That's how we all live.
Yes. We kill others. Others don't kill us.
Yeah, we let the others kill themselves sometimes. And this is the crazy part is Shinatsu. She sees two snipers that are actually on a building nearby, and but they're in range of the AK-47. So the master just turns around, takes two shots, and takes out both the spotter and the sniper in two shots, and they're like barely hidden over a wall too, like totally killed. And is like, you guys are in range.
Yeah, see, he can kill anyone within range of on a building with a sniper, but he can't shoot someone behind a wall.
It's an
and charging at him.
it's a magical AK-47. That's why.
Yes.
He didn't turn into the magical Maho Shoujo. Oh crap! Wrong anime. Never mind. So what happens is that Lihem's like, all right, I'll cover you, Coco. You go with Johan and get out of here. So,
go to the beach. Just run.
Yeah. So he actually starts doing cover fire, and he has a silencer on, and he starts shooting at the master, and the master's like, "Oh, you idiot! You put a silencer on that beautiful musical note," and Lihem's just like, "Gunfire is just a bunch of farts, and you're a fool if you think it's music."
Gunfire is a symphony of farts, is the exact quote.
It's like Dito after he's gone to Del Taco.
No, it's when I come back from Cafe Rio.
Burp.
Good food, but...
Good food, gas later.
Yes, pretty much.
So they're running, and so all of a sudden Shinatsu, she's like, crap, we gotta stop paying attention to this. The Coco just got away. So, and they're out of bullets anyways. So,
Yeah, this is the only time you see the gun. And what is the first thing you do whenever you run out of bullets shooting a superhero? You throw the gun at him.
he throws a gun at Liam, and he totally misses. It's like hits the wall right on, too. That's a funny thing. And they run to the truck, and all of a sudden,
Which is a block away, mind you.
Yeah.
It's on the block away, so they sprint down the road, drop the riot shield, just sprint down the road, just saying like, "Oh yeah, we got some new toys." And he's like, "Oh," and the master's like, "Oh, I'm happy again. You know how to cheer me up, Jetsu." And they find the red truck at the end of the street next to, I think God, I don't even know. It's just like next to the sidewalk where it was, I guess, where the beach was, and
Yeah.
where they were
And-
going to run.
and nobody notices that there's a light machine gun in the bed of the truck, because Shinatsu, she jumps into the truck and drives, but the master jumps into the back where there just happens to be a light machine gun conveniently laid there that nobody didn't see out in the wide open.
Of course not.
And Lee Hyun actually calls Shinatsu the Aegis of the master, which pretty much means she's like the eyes and ears and the protection for this guy, because she sees things that he doesn't and warns.
Yeah, the
out for it.
Aegis is referred to as a divine protection, usually in Greek mythology, representing either some clothing, maybe a shield, or a cape of some sort.
In this case, a pantyless schoolgirl.
With a riot shield.
Yeah, with the riot shield that she picked up on a dead
Yes.
soldier. So the funny thing is, while they're running on the beach, this is the craziest thing right here, is that Jonas finally tells Coco how he feels about guns, and he's like, guns make everything. You give a peaceful person a gun, they'll go crazy with it, and they can't explain why they went crazy with the gun at all. Blah blah blah. Right there. And Coco's like, "Oh, you finally really opened up to me for once. I feel like you're really truly talking to me." I really don't want. I can't wait until we get to the story arc where we actually learn what happened in Jonas's past that caused him to think like this, because it's got to be pretty messed up.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that this story is going right now, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a 12-episoder.
Hey, Kuroko's basketball is gonna go 26, so why not have this one go 26 too, huh?
I would be all for that.
And then it goes to a cutscene to actually see how the master and Shinatsu actually met. So what happened was she was with her parents or something to a opera.
Orchestra.
An
It was
opera.
an opera, sorry,
Opera.
actually.
And
They had
then-
an orchestra there, too.
And then the master shows up and he's like, "This is not real music. You need an orchestra for real music." And he just opens fires on everybody. Like, kills the opera singer and then just opens fires on everybody around there. And he thinks he's killed everybody. And all of a sudden he gets shot in the shoulder. And he turns around and there's Shinatsu, like, with a gun at his face. And he just grabs her and is like, "I like the sound of this music right here." And I guess that's how they met each other and became the pair that
She
they were.
made some good music from shooting him in the shoulder. Yeah, again with the shoulder.
The shoulder. Maybe that's his way. The way to his
shoulder.
heart is through his shoulder. So, ladies, if you really want that guy, just shoot him in the shoulder.
Don't use a 22 and shoot him and try to shoot yourself right here because it'll ricochet. I'll hit you. Yeah. Story later.
I'd
Anyways.
rather be single. So, ladies, please don't try to shoot me in the shoulder. Just saying.
Don't try to shoot yourself in the shoulder with a 22. It's not gonna work. Anyways, at this point we see the orchestra catches up with Coco, and the team also catches up with them too. And as they're running or as they're driving by and everything, they go and use the car as a shield because it's bulletproof and all the fun junk. Where they notice that orchestra, the master, of course, is running a nerve. It's a LMG, which is basically a submachine gun that
Light machine
has
gun.
a very large clip. I don't want to say it's like a saw or anything of that, but it's about the equivalent too. And as they are going, they're trying to say, shoot the tires out, shoot the tires out. So I think it was a Stag. A Stag S2 is one was using, and a G36 is the other. As they're trying to fire and everything, they kind of got the car to wobble, where one of them actually notices an M2 sitting in the back seat in the cab. And at that point, they just kind of like, he just went totally pale white, because basically an M2, for all those who don't know, it's usually mounted on top of on top of Humvees
or drilled into
or
the
on
ground.
pretty much on
Yeah.
like maybe on like, any kind of heavy artillery like machine or any type of machine.
Like, it shoots such large rounds. You have to have it mounted on something, or the kick will just send the gun flying. So, so it's really
yeah, and they had it
heavy
mounted in the
artillery.
cab of the truck.
Yeah.
Anyways, the orchestra passes them, tries to make it around go around the block and everything, and come back. Where, normally at this point you would probably get them in the vehicle and drive off. This is what I was thinking.
Just run away.
Yeah, just run away. Because I'm pretty sure that to drive around the block still takes even at high speed, still take you a good 2 minutes. Depending on the street blocks. So
No,
they
they're still there, running
No.
along the beach, because that's the hot place to have a date, is on the beach, right?
running with your boss, with an MP5, with your other teammates, blocking you with a car as the terrorists come back and start unloading you with an M2.
Yeah, just these relatively high caliber weapons that are coming zooming at you. You don't try to get away. No. Let's not try to get away.
No.
Let's just keep
But
running.
once you get fired at by an M2, there's only one thing you can do. Pretty much put your head between your thighs and kiss your ass goodbye.
Yeah. And then, so what happens is, actually, when the M2 actually goes off, guess what happens, It just hits the car and causes the car to, again, fly face up right there. Not explode this time.
No, and stand.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, everybody, they kind of run off because they run out of ammo on the M2. So they're like...
It doesn't help the fact that the car catches fire.
Yeah, because everybody was shooting at the engine trying to make it explode. So they get out of there, and the Coco's team, the car finally lands again. Everybody seems to be okay, which I don't understand, but okay. And
But at before everything happened, before the M2 actually went off, Johan grabs Coco and kind of jumps into the water. So
ocean.
they were safe. And as Johan comes out with Coco up some stairs, he just grabs his pistol out of his pocket, where it's just mysteriously kept
in a hoodie pocket.
In a hoodie.
It's not. Actually,
this is where you keep your pistols, everyone.
I've noticed that in this anime, they store their pistols in the weirdest things. Like Valmint, she just had it in her back pocket. Like, not even, because you know how usually it's in her waistband. She just had it in her back pocket.
Yeah, when you have the place, you put it in there. So Johan's coming up the stairs and everything, tells Coco to stay down there, where he pops his head up and everything, and there's the master, just kind of lays 2 rounds and misses him. And at this point, they notice, like, Chiatsu kind of gets this bad feeling and everything, because he comes around the corner, starts firing, and knocks Chiatsu's hat, just bullet right through the thing, and just knocks it right off. And she just tells him to stop. I have a really bad feeling about this, and some words fly saying you shouldn't be superstitious and everything. And so, as the master comes around the corner, he just gets sniped right through the heart.
Yeah, right through the heart. And then it turns out it's what's his name? It's a sniper that's about a kilometer away. Gets him in the heart, and the other guy's like, go for the headshot, and totally next shot is just right through the head and kills the master. And Chiatsu, she just like totally goes crazy right then. She's like, no, no, and so she tries to go out, and they, for some reason, the guy with the sniper rifle, he's like, I can't do it. It's a girl. I can't do it.
It's a
girl."
child.
Yeah.
It's like because like Chatsu's pretty much probably is just as old as Coco,
Yeah.
and this is where like they were saying take her out and everything, but at the same time too, when he tries to fire, he hits the gun instead. Hits the submachine gun or the heavy rifle instead. Then tries to fire again and misses. And this point, she goes and like grabs the cross that he was wearing,
Does a
grabs the
backflip.
pistol, and grabs the other pistol. Kind of does like some like couple fires, spins and everything, and does a backflip. Where Coco is just kind of like going like totally like what the hell is going on here? Now she manages to get away from the entire group and all that. And the first thing she's just like, why wasn't she wearing any panties?
Yeah.
Of all the things you could do
Of all
and be
things.
like into awe about is that she wasn't wearing panties.
Like I said, this should belong in Korewa, but I don't know why it's in here. So all of a sudden the cops actually pull up, and this guy, he's not even in uniform or anything. He's like, Coco, you're under arrest. And Jonas, he just like looks over. It's like, what are we gonna do? And he just the guy just totally kicks Jonas back into the ocean, and he's like, I probably would withdraw your units right now. It probably is not the smartest thing. We saw everything. So Coco has everybody withdraw, and I love this guy's name because I want to I want to say something else instead of what his name is. His name is Jerry Schatzberg. You can probably figure out what I want to say.
Yeah.
Or also known as Scarecrow, and how Dito wrote this from intelligence of the CIA.
Well, yeah, that's what they stayed in there later on as they're describing what's going on in the situation itself. They called him intelligence.
He's a CIA agent.
Yeah, I know, but
Dito,
they called.
what does CIA
the reason
stand
why
for?
as they pull him back to the police in the station and everything, they have Scarecrow kind of put away into another room and everything, and they said that because he pushed an officer away and everything, and he's from intelligence, they're not going to press charges. Is why I put that in there.
But what does CIA stand for, Dito?
Yes, I know what it stands for. I just put it in there because I wanted to put it in there. You didn't have to say that, you idiot.
I don't think so. I think you could have gotten off just saying here's a CIA agent. For some reason, the U.S. is all of their high-profile security agencies seem to take higher regard than everybody else, other than like MI6.
Yeah, that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah. But
music on there. Whoops.
Coco happens to be. Ew, that's too close for me, Dito. Too close.
Look at my hair.
Too close. But so it just happens that Coco, one of her customers, happens to be the chief of police that's holding her, and they pretty much let her go. Pretty much give her a shower, change of clothes, and let her go. But he's like, I'm gonna have to keep you guys confined to your hotel for a while, and that's my PR move saying that I'm trying to contain the situation right there. So that's what happens, and they're leaving the headquarters, and Scarecrow, he kind of runs out, and he's like, "Where's the back door? Where's the back door?" If he's gonna go towards the back door, somehow he ends up near the front door where Coco's walking out, and he just socks her in the face. It's like, "This isn't over. I'm gonna get you," and Coco just like laughs it off and walks through the door.
But at this point, Coco realizes something too, because she was threatened by Chiatsu saying that I'll get you, in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, maybe a month, maybe a year, but I'm going to get you to avenge my master. Then also Scarecrow does the same thing too, threatens her as she's leaving, saying that you're not going to get away from me. I'm going to have you arrested, blah, blah, blah. So when she gets outside, she realizes that there is no one to protect her right now. So she kind of goes through this like very scared state state and everything, where she hears a noise off to the side, and sure enough, there's Johan.
Yay! Luckily.
So of course, with Coco being herself, she just kind of goes in there and just like, hey, hey, thanks for coming, blah blah blah. And Johan's just like, what happened to you? She's like, oh, don't worry about it, it's nothing. And goes in the bag where her wet clothes are like, oh, good, it's still wet. And just like wipes off the blood from her nose.
Not even all the way too. It's just like just enough where the bulk of it's gone. There's still like remnants of there. Have you noticed every time she wipes blood off, there's still some on her face?
Yeah. Just like how it would normally be if you wipe blood off your face, without any real materials. A wet shirt.
You could do it with a wet shirt.
Well, yeah, that's the saying. It's how it is until you use like a wet shirt.
So they're walking home, and Coco's like, I have a question for you. Who has the most guns? Here's a quiz, Dito. Who has the most guns? Who controls most of the guns in the world?
The army?
No.
Oh. Apparently, what it comes down to is 60% of all the actual guns being owned actually are by civilians.
Yeah, and to the army and police total is the 36%. And then, those rebels and terrorists that you always see in the news and always get covered, they only have 1% of the world.
0.1%.
0.1% of all the
or less
of all the arms in the world. So she's like, so where's all these peaceful people you told me about earlier that since most people own guns, 1 in 10 people are armed. So she tells that to Jonas, and I don't even remember what he said. I think he just like stored her for a while.
And he didn't really give too much insight after that, because at this point it just cuts back into the hotel like 3 days later.
Yeah. And then you see Shinatsu climbing up the side of the building. It's a pretty tall hotel, might I add. And right when she pulls her gun out, Coco's like, the moment you point that gun at me, you're dead. And she looks up and there's Coco just waiting on there.
And this is where this Chatsu is really keen on everything, and she's just kind of like, yeah, you have a really good sniper. I can't even begin to think where he's at.
Yeah, and of all the things she asks after Shinatsu puts down the phone, it's like, I'll tell you the answer to your question if you answer one question for me. And of all the things she asks is like, why don't you wear panties? And what do you think the reason is that? Do you know?
It's because she gives a small story about one of her first times on the job with the master, that they had to go to a mafia's house across the river, but she got soaked from the waist down. So by the time that the fighting started and everything, she secretly took them off because, it's really uncomfortable to be wearing wet underwear. And all of a sudden, like, her aim got better, and her master praised her for killing more than him.
So that's why. And then Coco whispers the answer on why she sells arms, even though she knows that's probably going to kill her in the end. And Shinatsu's like, you are messed up. And with that, she like almost pulls this gun, and bam, shot right through the torso twice.
Yeah, she kept a spare gun in her panties this time.
Yeah.
There you go.
And totally kills him. So Shinatsu just dies on there, and then she calls the chief of police, going, all right, we got the 2 from Orchestra right there. On an unrelated note, would you like to set up sniper training services with me?
I'll give you a good rate.
And that's how the episode ends. And of course.
Yeah. I just found that funny is like she tries to set up like just the most random stuff too. It's just so the show is one of those that it's just so fun to watch.
And Dito, you know what else is random? Our next anime that's coming up right now.
Oh yeah.
And our next anime is Korewa Zombie no Desu-ka of the Dead! And it's brought to you by Baby Got Back! Because vampire ninjas love to get the friction on. Oh yeah.
Again, like last episode, warning, our protagonist is a zombie, so please do not try this at home.
Not at all. And, when we left off, there were rainbows being puked. Aikoa becomes super popular. I wish I could be popular. And boys be ambitious!
So we start this episode off the most random way possible.
With love,
So you
Dito, with
have-
love.
Yeah, it's like, I have no idea why they started it like this way, but so Sarah is talking to Servicia, which is the head of the vampire ninjas, or at least higher up, and wondering why in the world does she even like Ayakawa, and she's just like gives this whole speech and everything about his butt being so like what is this so attractive and everything, and she just ends up just saying it's because I have butt love.
But love!
The first minute of this third episode is worth watching a couple times because it's just like, what?
Yeah, the thing is, because if you watch the first season, Saravati, she seriously hates Aikoa, where she's like, don't even talk to me. And, like, it's changed because she's, like, in love with his butt.
Apparently, a lot of people are in love with his butt because his butt gets probably the most, attention.
Yeah. But I love it. After the intro video, which you're listening to the song right now, you see the Miscellanean, the chainsaw, is like all bandaged up and it has like 2 IV bags hooked up to it and everything. And I thought that was hilarious because it's like, might as well have EKG on there going, deet, deet.
The best part is that the Stallion is has this like voice of an old man, like decrepit old man too.
I want to have that voice when I'm old.
Maybe one day you will, but at this point they're still talking about like Ayakawa as being very popular on the internet and everything, and Yu's just sitting there going like, yeah, I've already like saw a lot of your stuff on the internet and everything, and he gets his little figment of his imagination, telling like basically what he keeps on thinking Yu's gonna sound like, and now she's just like, no, I upload your information.
It's like, it's the most popular stuff on there.
Yeah, I was like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden Aiko, he pulls out his cell phone and calls Dai Sensei, and he's like, so what's the progress on getting Mistlin fixed up? And she's like, well, we're about halfway into the third of step 1,200, or the third, yeah,
About halfway into step 3 out of 1,241
steps. And he's like, what? And it's like, everybody knows in Viri it takes a long time to get all this processed and happening. And he's like, that's what just Haruna just said. And the thing I love is every time you call Dai Sensei, she's on her like tin can phone. And I love it.
Because
it
seems like it's like the most advanced technology they got there. There's this tin can phone just.
And it's like all style. It's not just like a normal tin can. She has it like all stylized and everything too on the sides. Totally random thing, but hey, this whole anime is pretty much random. So,
So we come across our next scene of Haruna in the living room with Yu trying to fix Mystillion, but it looks more like she's trying to rape Mystillion.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna get to take off your clothes and see stuff. Ah! And she has like a drill
I
in
can
her hand.
see your tushy. And she starts tickling it.
Yeah. The funny thing is, it cuts so. What's his name? Aikoa. He's like, he goes and cooks dinner, and he comes back, and so Yu is being the assistant to Haruna, and she's like, "All right, where's the? I need the drill." And then she gives him a rubber duck, and she's like, "No, no, no, not that." And then all of a sudden she gives him a potty training goose or something. Oh no, it's potty training. It's like, no, 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 I wanted a drill. And she just keeps handing her things that sound like drill in Japanese, but not the drill. um. So what's his face is like, all right, I'll just make rice balls for you so you guys can eat while you're working. And he kind of goes to bed. And he wakes up in the middle of the night. He comes down. He sees you and Haruna passed out over there doing their cute, adorable thing. There's a lot of fan service in this anime.
Oh yes,
Lots.
both
Lots.
side fan service.
Lots. And he's like, oh, they're fixed. So I can go, erase everybody's memory. And so he goes out into the backyard, and Sarah's back there. It's like, all right, let's end this so nobody remembers everything and we can go back to normal. And he transforms and everything, and he starts saying the incantation to erase everybody's memory, and all of a sudden the chainsaw just totally falls apart on him, and then like his powers disappear. And I love this. It cuts back to where you and Haruna's sleeping, and there's a cat. The cat turns around, and there's a missing bolt right there. It's always the missing bolt,
Always. And this also brings up another point too. When did this cat actually come into the anime series and start living there?
I don't remember this cat from season 1. So I think they're messing with us, They're trying to make us think that's a joke from season 1, but they just stuck it in at the beginning of episode 1.
Yeah, because I must have missed this. Somewhere along the way between season 1, season 2, and the 2 OAVs, there is a black cat just kind of started living with Ayakawa and all that. So if anyone can actually shed some light on this, once again, Kita at ktdata.net.
Yeah, it becomes almost a standard background thing, just like the Dyson fan they have going on all the time. Even in winter, I've noticed that. They had it going on during the winter, too. Which I didn't understand, but oh well. And so
now, we come across with Ayakawa being at school now, completely depressed at the fact that he can't erase anyone's memories. Where Orito, one of his best friends, comes up and just tries to see if he can talk to him, because he wants to try to understand him, because he is his friend. True friends in the end always try to understand one another. But he just keeps on saying, just give me some more time. Just give me some more time to understand what you're trying to do. But his other classmate, Anderson, comes in and is just like trying to explain to Ayakawa what he's trying to mean. But I think it's more along that he's trying to get some ass from Orino.
I know, because they're like holding hands. There's really awkward moments, and I don't even understand how this does anything to do with the storyline at all. It's just
but it was there, and I laughed, and we move into the next scene of Ayakawa talking to Drunken Fairy again.
Character, the Drunken Fairy, and guess what she's doing, Dito? She's doing test tube sake shots. It's freaking awesome.
I want to do this. I seriously want to get some beakers, get some test tubes, and do some sake shots from this.
You've never done that before?
No, I've never done it before.
I have a set right there. Right over there.
All right.
Been there,
Next
done that.
time we're going to be we're doing that. We're doing that at Anime Expo.
Test tube shots.
Yes, test tube shots. We're so doing that.
I've done it before, and don't take too many of those. And I love the Drunken Fairy. She just goes off on like how somebody buys you beer, but you want harder liquor than that, but they still give you a beer, and it's like, you got to be a man. You gotta go straight to the liquor, because the liquor is so good, and just gotta say no to the beer. I love this.
Courage. It's just taking the courage, and then here he goes with Icon. Like, courage, yes. Oh, maybe I should try to be as courageous and try to understand. Orito is just like, yeah, that's it. So, and
he marches off. So
yeah,
and then it cuts to yet another random scene. Like I said, this anime doesn't really make that much sense, but it's fun to watch. Haruna, she's like near the riverside, and she's walking by. And it's like, "Ugh, why do I feel like death right now?" And she looks over and she sees Yuki dancing on the banks, like this voodoo dance. Like she's doing a voodoo dance or something, and like she collapses over, and Yuki stops and looks over, and it's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "You're doing a voodoo dance. It almost killed me." And it turns out that Yuki's going to be a backup dancer for Saravati because she's a idol now, a AV idol. If you've seen season 1, so she's gonna be a background dancer. But every time she dances, it's just this like weird voodoo dance. And the funny thing is, while Yuki's explaining this to Haruna, you see people walking in the background. And one of the things is like, so what you see one go by and it's just somebody walking their dog, and all of a sudden you see somebody else walking by and they're walking a pig.
I missed that. I
Like,
have to go back and see this pig and see if it's another pig from another show.
they're literally walking a pig, and I almost missed it too, and I looked like that's a pig that they're walking by. They just randomly put that in. I'm like, okay.
Well, it's not too random. I mean, there's plenty of different animes out there that have a pig as a pet. I mean, we have
just
Ranma, we have Clannad, we have.
But as a
Gurren
background
Lagann,
character, like this is totally a background character that we probably won't see again. They just decided to stick that in, and so it cuts to Aiko walking by, and is like, "Why do I feel like I'm gonna die again?" And he looks over, and it's both Haruna and Yuki. They're doing the voodoo dance, and it's like killing everybody around.
Yeah, it's like as you take a wide scan out and everything, there's
Everybody's
everybody.
just
Like people are just passed out over there's birds falling out of the sky.
And then all of a sudden Aikawa starts dancing, and this is like he starts doing old school breakdancing, pull out the cardboard and have him start doing the flips. And everybody's like, "Oh!"
It's like that's how you dance, not
Yeah.
this stuff. And all they're really doing is just basically like I think if you're like jogging in place doing this, just going back and forth like this, for all those who can see my horrible dance and mine and Katie's. But it's just like this, and they're just like, oh, and that's all they're doing, and that's the voodoo dance.
And so now what they have to do is that when they're dancing, Yu's even suffering. The strongest necromancer in the world. She's like, "This is horrible." And so their goal is Aikawa has like one day to get all these gals into tip-top shape to dance, or they're going to be in trouble.
To be background dancers.
Yeah.
That's the whole goal, because Haruno is just telling Yuki that I'm going to make you the best background dancer ever.
Yeah. And just randomly, Orito just shows up and it's like, "Aikawa, I am the new Orito. I am learning to accept the new Aikawa." And pretty much after that, it's like, "Aikawa, you do not need me. I do not need you. You need me." And
Yeah, it's like you'll need the
new
Orito doesn't need Ayakawa. Ayakawa needs a new Orito. Orito is just like, what?
And then he just walks off.
Yeah.
And I'm going like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah, so here, and this is where we come down to like it's concert time. So, they're in the back room practicing everything and stuff, and it seems like they got in tip-top shape because they were actually doing the real dance poses and everything and stuff. Then they get on the stage, and sure enough, they doing the voodoo dance. At this point, Aikawa jumps in there, just telling him, "Stop,
like,
stop,
no,
stop,
I gotta
stop."
stop
But
him.
then all of a sudden, he starts joining in, and then it starts becoming contagious at this point.
And then I love it because this is when they get those crazy Japanese glow stick crowds. They get them perfectly, and the crowd starts doing it too. And like, and like by the end of it, everybody is just like passed out.
They're just exhausted, passed out, and that's like pretty much the whole episode right there.
And then in the next episode, oh, I love this. So we see Aikawa. He's building a model right here, and it pulls out to be the arm slave from Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, Panic.
Or Panic.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Full
So
Metal
it's
Panic.
Arbalest. It's Arbalest
Yeah, the
from Full
Arbalest.
Metal Panic. And normally, whenever animes do cross sections of animes, they don't actually give the real name.
Yeah.
Like for example, like in Genjiken, when they had all the Gundams and everything, they call them Gulfs instead of their actual names. So it's just to prevent copyrights and all that fun junk or whatever it is. No, they fully just admit to being Full Metal Panic, that it is an armed slave, that it's Arbalest.
Yeah.
And it's just they completely do this whole thing. And the funniest part about the whole thing is that uh, I call it build a diorama of the second raid in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
like a, just basically a 1-to-1 scale from the model's point of view, and he just starts taking pictures of it, and I'm just looking at him going, do I really look like that when I'm doing my reviews?
I didn't
No,
want to.
seriously, like I was
I
looking
didn't
at this
want
and
to
going,
say anything, Dito. I didn't
yeah,
want to
and
say
I
anything.
was just going like, this looks so familiar. Oh god.
and then all of a sudden Haruna, she walks in and it's like, oh, Full Metal Panic, and she starts playing with the Arbalisk, and then he's like, be careful, you might break it, and all of a sudden it snaps in half, and both of them go, Sasuke!
And then it cuts into the intro.
Oh, I love that.
That made me laugh so hard. Am I going? That
Oh,
is. I've never
yeah.
seen someone parry an anime from another one like this before.
I almost fell off my ball. Like, I was laughing that hard. I almost fell off my ball. I was watching like, oh my god, that's hilarious. And then all of a
So-
sudden, the new Orito comes back again, and he's like, Aikawa, this is the way we can have you start accepting the new Aikawa, and he gives him this ticket to this cosplay cafe.
Eh.
And let's see. So they go there, and it just happens to be owned by the vampire ninjas. So the owner is actually what how do you say her name?
Savati.
Yeah, Savati. And she's like, "What are you doing here, you sick fool? Even though you're beautiful ass."
It's like she calls him his her piece of shit's lovable ass. Basically, I don't know how to really put it with how she says it. But anyways, the whole purpose of it, so she keeps on saying like, "Go away, master." They're always referring, because since it's a maid cafe, they always have to end everything by master, because that's what maids do. But they always say like, go away, or they always like do something very offensive type stuff to like, it would be, if anyone ever said that to you in a restaurant, you'd be pissed off. But then they end it with masters because it sounds so polite.
And that's the VIP treatment too. It's not the normal treatment.
Yes.
That's a VIP treatment right there. So they like finish their dinner or their lunch or whatever, and Ike was like, "Let's go," and then he's like, "Hold on, we have to do the special on the back, the dessert," and it's like, we're playing hard to get. Catch 5 of our hearts, and it's free. Or you pay 1,000 yen, which ends up being, or 100,000 yen, which ends up being like
Just around like $120
yeah.
US
Give or
dollars.
take a change. So Tito and I, we need to go find this maid cafe and do some experimenting.
Yes. So how this works out is that so the 5 different girls from the cafe is going to come in, and you have to see if you can get them to like you. So we have player 1 that joins in, which just happens to be Yoshida Yuki.
Aikawa's supposed wife. And that wasn't hard for him to get. She's like, you should just dress normal. It's like, ah. And then Alex Anderson, I'm going to call him Anderson because I don't remember his name, but I remember him going, Anderson, in Japanese. He's like, 1 win for Aikawa right there. And then
so he becomes a narrator just out of nowhere, just like he's the narrator. So they start with player 2, and it still happens to be Haruna.
It's like, I won't lose to him.
Yeah, and so Haruna does put up a better fight and everything. Just completely shoots off Orito like every given moment until Ayakawa runs out of water, so he's asked for some more water. Yuki brings some more water and everything himself. Then Haruna kind of looks over and sees that Yuki and Aikawa becomes a little bit more like a little too
Yeah.
friendly and everything, and she
She-
gets a little annoyed.
She gets the normal vision that that Aikawa gets when it's talking about you, and she's like, "No!" And she like pours and it's like, "Drink my water, dang it!" And all of a sudden, ding, 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 ding! Another win for Aikawa. And then you can explain this next one, Dito.
Okay.
You're
So then
into
we have
that.
Sarah. Like the third player, round 3 is with Sarah, but she's in S&M maid bondage. Well, I'm just going like, what in the world? So Ayako comes up with this brilliant strategy because after Orito gets slammed into the ceiling where he's just kind of his torso just hanging from the ceiling.
He's hanging longer than Kagami did in Kuroko.
Yes, he had more hang time than Kuroko. How about that? Or sorry, as a Kagami. So Aikawa comes up with this idea is like, I want you to cook something for me. And she's just kind of like, and Sarah's just like, wait, what? And Savati is just like, she's not allowed in the kitchen. So
It's like, it's okay,
So-
it's okay.
it's okay. So she goes and cooks him a steak that just so happens to be laced or had to be cooked with nitroglycerin.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know what that is, that's the NT in TNT.
Very, very true. So now everyone, like, he's about to put the fork in, and the fork goes in, starts like dissolving,
Melting.
and then he puts the knife in, and the knife doesn't even get close to it, and just dissolves straight off there. He grabs it and just like puts the whole thing in his mouth. Where at everybody's just kind of like going, oh, and sure enough, just it's just like you see his purple smoke come out of his mouth,
And he pulls up the tray. Seconds, please.
so Sarah's just kind of like going, oh well, okay, and then there goes the dinger again, and he beats Sarah, so a win's a win, I guess.
Yeah.
He's just lucky he's a zombie.
Yeah. And then round 4. Who could it be, Dito?
It just happened to be you. So, and this is where it comes interesting because Ayakawa is just kind of like sizing up you is in a maid uniform, and before they even get to sit down, and he just has an imagery of this just going like, talking about like, do you like me in my dress, blah blah blah, and everyone's just like, this is over before it even started. But all the you just puts up a note and just says like, you've been kind of bashful lately, and then at that point it's just like ding 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 ding, done.
It's the most random win ever. It was like 2 seconds. You'd think that one would be the longest, but no, it's only 2 seconds long.
Yeah.
And the final round, Dito. Round number 5. Who could it be? It has to be Saravati, right?
Yes, it has to be, but apparently no. Savati just says like, I'm not going to be your final opponent. It's going to be Mihara Kimono. Oh God, Kanami. Yeah, I just totally slaughtered that. Mihara Kanami, which happens to be one of his classmates. So this time it's more along the lines that
she's the coldest girl in the school too. Like, she has no heart.
You notice, like, you probably see her in the shows too if you don't know who we're talking about, even though you've been watching the shows. She's the one that always just like, there's screw loose with everybody here. What's wrong with everybody? And like, he's just a pervert.
Yeah.
So they have like small talk conversations, just like, are you ever going to get rid of your cross-dressing ways? Then at this point, like, you're already watching Aikawa about to like lose this one, where lo and behold, Orito pops his head out of the ceiling and comes to the rescue.
It's not just Orito, Dito. It's new Orito.
Yes, Orito. I forgot.
And so
he's just like, leave this to me. I got this. Pauses for a second and everything. Takes a good long look at Sumihara and is just like, I love you.
And it totally catches her off guard. It's like, why would you ever say that? Her face turns bright red and then ding! It looks like Orito and Aikawa have made it through. They have won, and they had an embrace.
Yes, they had their nice friendship embrace.
Yeah, and so at the end, Aiko is shaking Saravati's hand, and she's like, "I am never washing this hand ever again." And he's like, "Please wash your hand." And so it just because so what happens is that all the girls are working in the maid cafe, so they got paid, and on their way home, Haruna she tries to get a new model because she broke Aikawa's, and well, just watch the episode to find out what he got.
Yes. And also at the end, if you watch all the way to the end of the credits, like kind of where the previews is, they always have some kind of little tidbit thing, and it's always about like use of other personalities that Ayakawa imagines her as. Just watch that. It's pretty
that's
funny.
actually pretty good. I like that one. And speaking of the end of things, it's the end of the episode, Tito.
Woo! Episode 2
is a wrap.
But
Sort of.
But the sad thing is that I'm stoked for the rest of the series. You know, I want to watch more now.
Decided. We're going long too. That's the thing. That means we've been talking too much because we love these anime series a little bit too much.
Just a little.
Just a little. But so before we head off, don't forget Kita at ktdata.net. Send us feedback. Tell us. Talk more about X anime. Talk less about X anime. We hate your guts, KT. You're ugly, KT. I want to shoot you in the shoulder because I have a huge crush on you, or something like that.
Yeah, or even tell me it's like, say, Dito, you suck, or you should get off the mic and don't podcast with the visuals, just or tell me to shut up.
It's like I saw you picking your nose on cast. And always we do it every 2 weeks on Tuesdays, sometime during Tuesday night. So just come by ktdata.net/live. Pretty easy to remember, and make sure you check out ktdata.net for all the crazy shenanigans. Actually, if you were watching live, you saw me open up my bag of crap, which will be on ktdata.net shortly after Kita's on there. And Dito, he has this like 3 gazillion ton box that he just got in from Japan, so he's got tons of figure reviews. Some are up, some are coming up, and some are just a dirty thought in the back of his mind.
Or behind me.
And again, like I said, 2 weeks, so we will see you May 22nd. Do you have anything else to say, Dito?
Nope, I am good, KT.
Well, if that's all we have to say, until next time, guys. Bye! Dito's not cool enough to say bye.
I wave for all those who can't see me.
I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? Okay. All right. Okay, that didn't make sense. It's okay.
Nothing does.
This whole podcast doesn't make sense. So we're good. We're good. We're good. Are we good?
But as good as we can, I guess.
All right. All right. The show starts in 3, 2, 1. Assemble!